it was a journey to become who I am, but like to cover the internationality. Like I'm born in Armenia. My name is Estonian, so I'm half Armenian, half Estonian. But I grew up in Italy. Done most of my career in UK. I'm in Cyprus for the last 5 years.
We crave for simple things because our lives are so complex. So products and brands need to be digestible in a click, right? Stumble upon the fact that all the 5 top producers of chocolate use child labor and child slavery.
Do you think AI can create a form of a newfound art?
I think they lack storytelling, the
uniqueness,
sweat,
the original intent.
If everyone can create art, what is the point? It becomes nothing.
Millennials and millennials, welcome to another episode of Millennial Minds. Don't close your podcast provider or change the YouTube channel that you're on because it's still me, Constantinos. I'm your host for today's podcast and it's going to be in English. So I want to thank my guest because this is the first episode that we're going to have with auto captions from YouTube. So a lot more people could actually see the podcast and listen to it for the first time, maybe. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my guest. He's the most international guy I know. He's one of the creative geniuses that I've met throughout my career. I'm not gonna say my former boss. I'm gonna say a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Zarian.
Thank you. Wow, I need to match that intro now, and I don't know how YouTube auto caption will do with my accent. Can you do gestures as well? Do you think?
I don't know if it's gonna do anything.
We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Maybe it's gonna identify this as Italian. So
yeah, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Because now I am a shit English speaker, but also bad Italian speaker. So I don't have any language that I do particularly well, in my opinion.
We already established that you're an international guy. We already said it.
So that's excused.
We talked about the English part, we talked about the Italian part. First question of the day. Who is Martin Zarian and why is he so handsome in some ways?
Well, it was a journey to become who I am, but like to cover the internationality, like I'm born in Armenia. My name is Estonian, so I'm half Armenian, half Estonian, but I grew up in Italy, done most of my career in UK. And then now I decided that the weather pattern in Cyprus are more predictable and more pleasant. So I'm in Cyprus for the last 5 years. I'm a brand strategist and creative director, as you know, because we were working together for a year. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, you were so traumatic.
That guy.
You have the post-traumatic stress, right? So you completely eliminated.
I forgot about that title in my
about Factory 39, and then we've been here in the island for about 5 years, and we're meant to stay for much longer.
That's really good. That's a very nice point of the weather because it's one of the key reasons people relocate to Cyprus. With your expertise and your orientation of work, how is Cyprus a place to grow?
Interesting question. I think Cyprus is a great place to establish new things. I think new ideas. Like I work a lot with innovators and startuppers and other entrepreneurs that perhaps relocate to Cyprus or most commonly come back to Cyprus, right? So traditionally, our generation as well, and I look around my girlfriend and her friends, it was a generation of like, let's go study abroad. Manchester, Leicester, London, right? So it was this big bridge between UK and Cyprus. And they tend to study there, work for a bit, maybe start something or come back and start something in Cyprus. So it's really good. Taxation is good. Especially if you're a foreigner or a Cypriot that was abroad for more than 10 years, there is an incredible tax advantage to come here. It's a smaller market, so it's easier to test product or to be a sandbox, right? So a great place to launch new products and test and see how it goes before going out. But it comes with these challenges that are sometimes a more traditional mentality, the lack of understanding of some more granular services, the lack of appreciation of the creative industry as well is being extremely commoditized and
influence from some bad players in the industry as well. So it's up and downs. But I came from London to try to find a better quality of life, and that was 100% on the right answer. Cyprus was that. It's incredible quality of life, good food, good people. The pace is lower. It's just a beautiful place to live. With these up and downs, but I think everywhere it's the same.
Yeah, it depends on the balance of things and how do you cooperate with the positives and the negatives.
Correct. Yes.
In whatever aspect you want to grow, as was the question. For example, has the COVID period helped in any way to scale up the business, your business, for example, and basically help people understand that being in one place doesn't have to do with growing your business. Basically, doesn't have to do with where you're located.
I think yes and no. We were lucky enough that we were already working on Zoom. We were already doing remote sessions and remote work before COVID hit. So we were still a relatively small operation or medium-sized operation for Cypriot standards during COVID. But when people had to, oh my God, COVID is happening, we have to move operations and all processes online, we already were online. We were doing very little offline. So for us, it wasn't a big change. So in terms of growth of change, there wasn't much difference. The reality is that everything changed after COVID. The relationship between employee and employer changed, how people protect their boundaries between personal life and work life changed. But also, it is a beautiful situation to be for a digital business now because everyone is online. And some of the clients that were not considering to work with a remote partner like us from Cyprus, now that is not even in the question. Some companies, they don't really care. They don't even ask us, where are you based? Because they are so used to having this flexible working. But I think most of us, and I can see for my team and me personally as well, it was a personal development. COVID impacted everyone. So everyone went through a challenge. And I think most of us came out from the better side after it.
Yeah. So since this podcast is called Millennial Minds,
Yeah.
I think we were the most capable generation to handle this thing that happened, meaning COVID. But I also know that you don't want to be labeled by age groups as such.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw this from one of your posts in LinkedIn. Why do you think age groups do not matter in some ways?
I think they matter in
Demographics, maybe.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with demographics, right? It's a data that probably tickles your curiosity. But Ozzy Osbourne and the King of England, they're basically in the same demographic, right? And if you look at the data, they're pretty much the same person, but they're so different. So I think that humans are liquid and they're extremely fluid. So it's very hard to put them into boxes, right? And when we talk about marketing, branding, user persona, market research, strategies and researchers love to find boxes because they're easier to sell and easier to package and deliver. But the reality is that, I might, on Monday, I might go to work with a tuxedo, and then at night I go back and I wear Crocs and broken pajamas. And, the day after I might go to a gala dinner, and the day after again, I go to a lunch, in a shack, on the beach to eat, €4 plates. And I'm still the same person. And then we evolve, we change constantly. So demographics, I think, are useful until a specific level, and they will always be. We always have to treat them with a pinch of salt. We are too complex as individuals.
I think I agree and disagree at the same. I'm not actually disagreeing. I'm mainly agreeing, but the debate here would be you can see some not only demographics but society-wise. Interactions with millennials are different than interactions with Generation X.
Yeah.
Even older with the baby boomers, and also with the Generation Z and Alpha, which is after millennials. So there is a change in the market. So businesses must be more aware of that age group. So
100%.
This affects them. So that's why they are labeling people, and they need to, because otherwise they will be shooting the blind spot.
In the blind, yeah, I think that the challenge for businesses is relevancy, to stay relevant in ever-changing markets. And you're right when you talked about our generation being the one that managed to survive COVID with a smile in a way, right?
Yeah.
And come out strengthened. Everything changed if you think about it. If you look back in the 3 years, like these 3 years, everything changed in our lives. The way we go about mental health, for example, the relationship with work that we have, career path, flexible working, travel. So if you try to think back before COVID, we were almost in a really different world, and I can't remember for sure another year in another period of time where changes happened so quickly and so drastically. Perhaps after the war, right? Where people had to, post-war, people had to we come together and build up. But in a way, it was the same globally. So we woke up in a brand new world, and brands that are able to take that in their advantage are those ones that are able to build that relevancy with
Yeah, we can see the results now that the brands that survived are the ones that played it smart.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of old brands, really, really old brands that are still loved and still cherished and still they still have that strong relationship with people because they managed to stay relevant. They're humans in a way as well. They're fluids, as we were discussing before as well.
Yeah. I know that you love working in various industries with various people, but what's Martin's favorite industry to work in?
I think I was born a geek in a way. I don't necessarily build technology, but I love technology. There's a bunch of stuff here on the desk as well, and I can recognize all of it. And I always liked the new technology, new things. I remember I wanted to go and start working very early in my teenage years because I wanted to buy the PlayStation, for example, and I wanted to have the PSP, and I wanted to have the iPod. So I'm always fascinated by that stuff. So naturally, I'm attracted by other technologists, by other people that are trying to build something, trying to change something, trying to use technology to create something, whether business grow, personal grow, or health. So. And that's why half of our business at Factor 39 is also technologists, software developer, builder. So I think geeks in a way it's where
you're kind of around those people.
Yeah.
You're not specifically working in terms of technology, like you're not building technology, but you are close by.
I'm close by, and I think what I like the most is giving them the voice that they need. I think technologists sometimes are extremely smart people that build incredible solutions, but from the brand perspective and from the communication perspective, they lack that that magic power of turning technology into a communication tool, right? So sometimes I like to say that I humanize tech, right? So
that's a good tagline, actually.
It is a good tagline, and because they tend to lead with features. There is this beautiful example back in the days when the iPod came up, right? So there was this new music compression technology called the MP3. Like amazing, but like Apple didn't go outside with an advertising campaign that said, we have this amazing new technology device with this music compression technology called MP3. They said 1,000 songs in your pocket. So there's a massive difference, right? So I think that's the type of communication I like to do. So we connect with them, we analyze them, we understand the tech, and then we try to make it in a way that people understand what they can do for their lives.
Yeah, because they're mainly so focused on the R&D stuff.
They are,
or their coding, correct?
Yeah,
and then they don't have. I give them the excuse that they do not have basically the energy or the mindset to, okay, we need to also focus on branding, on telling the story of this product that we're creating. So that's why I think they're liking this part of it.
Yeah, they're two slightly different type of intelligence, right? I think they're extremely smart and finding this very complex solution. Like my business partner, I think he's way smarter than me in many, many ways. But sometimes when we are in the tech table, we get caught up with all this technology, and then we look on the other side of the table where sits a normal consumer that wants to understand what a bloody product can do for its life, and it's like, I don't get it. Like we crave for simple things because our lives are so complex. Mm-hmm. So products and brands need to be digestible in a click, right? No one wants to decode your brand offering and your spec product.
Yeah, and if it takes too much to explain, that means that something's not being oriented for
Correct.
Consumption.
Correct.
So you mentioned that you're a geek. I know that you're also a gamer. I know that you understand it. Have used many of the stuff that you see in front of you.
Yeah.
How does pop culture, video gaming, music, any form of art, digital art, whatever, influenced your work? For example, how did one brand strategy came up by thinking of one of your favorite games, if I recall, San Andreas.
I think it's because games and successful games, they become elements of culture, force of cultures, right? So as iconic movies, so as iconic music groups and iconic products as well. If we think about Apple, in all their products, and there is so much to learn on how they manage to bring together different type of people all under one same roof. And a lot of the brand strategy work that we do is very deep and could be very boring work, right? You have a facilitator with a classic turtleneck sitting in a room for 3 days, and you have CEO, CTO, CFO. I mean, I'm starting yawning just by thinking about it, right? But if you manage to gamify it, right, it becomes all of a sudden interesting. All of a sudden, that work becomes creative and becomes joyful, and people start to give sometimes stupid ideas as well, but those ideas build up and they become something beautiful. So we try to gamify all of our sections, right? And together again with my business partner Zen, one of the promises that we make to each other, that as soon as it becomes boring and tiring and work is no more rewarding and fun, we will stop. So I remember my mom, when she was seeing me playing my PlayStation, she was saying, "What the fuck are you doing? You're wasting time. Why are you spending so many hours in there? There are so many other things you could do." Because she was taught that way, right? She is a Soviet Union child.
Yeah.
Work, and that's pretty much it, right? If I remember, like,
You didn't have it easy.
they didn't have it easy, right? She's the classic woman that sees you chilling and she will give you a list to do, right? That's the way. That's the way, and she still is, and I love her and everything. But like, she didn't understand that there is much more behind it.
Yeah.
And I think we are the generation that grew up with games, and then people are making so much money now with even gaming, with these e-gaming competitions. I'm like, maybe if I didn't drop my PlayStation, I could have become one of those.
Every gamer's regret, like, I should have stayed and pursued that.
Why did I go
career?
out?
Yeah. Why did I start playing Call of Duty at 16?
It is a long-winded answer, but I think games are beautiful friends that are able to connect on a deeper level with people. That's the reality. That's what games are.
It's basically what movies were in the 80s, where gaming was not so big, but I think now games are at the same level, if not above, movies.
Yeah.
Has any video game aspect affected your thinking on creating a brand, for example, a brand logo or a brand strategy or some stuff?
Nice question.
Oh, interesting. I don't recall one specific game giving me the inspiration for a creative output. But I think now that you make me think about it, is more the holistic approach to games. For example, GTA, the GTA saga, it's such a deep video game. There is graphics, there is story, there are twists, there are missions, side missions, there is an open world. There's an element of course, violence and a dungeon as well, because we all felt sometimes when we didn't know what to do in GTA, we were just going around and killing people and stealing cars, right? But that was
Get those 6 stars.
But the music, the radio, the ads in the radios were like, it's an ecosystem, and it's such a holistic approach in delivering an experience to the client, to the gamer in that case. Which I think that's the lesson in building the brand, right? So the brand needs to be a holistic approach, and it needs to be a relationship, and every aspect of that relationship is an opportunity to strengthen up this relationship. And I think games like Grand Theft Auto and Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, Super Mario, all these longevity games, they understood that. And they became part of our lives.
Yeah, and they're also the stuff that learned us but did not define it, storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Because even if in Super Mario, you mentioned Super Mario, you have a start and you have a finish. That's the story. You start by saving the princess.
Yeah.
This is a common or a parallel to building a brand.
100%. I think that's your answer is way better than mine. I
Okay.
should have said it there. You ask me the question again so I can look smarter.
Yes, you I learned something from you.
Storytelling. Oh my God, yes. As humans, we are hardwired for storytelling. There is a neurological mechanism which is called neurocoupling that happens when a storyteller tell a story to a listener. Their neurological waves align. So they're basically bonding on a neurological level. And that's why we love movies. That's why we love podcasts. That's why we love games. We love stories. That's why we love bedtime stories from our mom as well, right? It's a connection that happens between listener and storytellers. And it's always been like that, because even when we were a slightly upgraded version of monkeys in a cave around a campfire, and we were telling stories to each other, that was the bonding of the tribe, right? The old person was telling a story, everyone was listening, everyone was bonding, and we were becoming a family. And that's why Christmas ads are also successful. That's why we look for them, right? Because we want to be in that melancholic, watery eyes mood over Christmas. And that's why advertising works. And you're absolutely right. Brand is storytelling. How can we tell our brand story in a way that we connect on a much deeper, much richer emotional level with the customers? Because that's what brands do. They are a connection. They build a bridge, right, between customer and brand. And yeah, storytelling is that bridge.
What's a brand that has a fascinating story that you like to tell people? I know of one, but I want to see if it's.
I think there are a few. The most shocking story that I found about the brand was how KFC became the number one Christmas food in Japan.
In Japan.
In Japan, they place order months in advance to have a Christmas packet of KFC during the Christmas holiday. Let's not forget that Japan is not a religious country, or it's not a Christian country. They don't actually celebrate Christmas. And but during the 70s and the 80s, if I remember correctly, there was a big wave of Westernism, right? So there were Western movies, there were Levi's jeans going there. There was this growing interest in the American automotive industry as well. So there was a trend of Japanese people looking for American brands. And the first franchisor of KFC in Japan realized that, and he launched a very special Christmas bucket offer for KFC during the holidays. Became wildly popular. And from there it grew. Like they opened, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of shops. And now Japanese people will queue and for hours to get a KFC packet for Christmas. It became such a big tradition.
Wow. But that's fascinating because the competition in terms of the food industry for Japan, as far as I know, it's very big because they eat a lot of stuff.
And KFC has nothing to do.
Yeah, it's
in Japan. If you think about
out of the idea.
Yeah, but they managed with a very creative campaign, with a cultural understanding. There was a growing demand for American products, and now that is still going on since the 80s. It's fascinating. It's still one of the things that I find a mission impossible for a brand.
Yeah. And it's something that you don't expect, and it's something that has its roots from the past. So that's why a story was born from the past and continues.
What was your story that you were about to say?
I think it was Tony's.
Oh, Tony's chocolate.
You might feeling that. I want to hear it again.
I love that. And that's a good story. So a couple of years ago, there was this Dutch journalist that was researching the chocolate production, right? And he stumbled upon some very traumatic data. He stumbled upon the fact that all the 5 top producers of chocolate use child labor and child slavery to slavery to source their cocoa beans, right? And we're talking about those companies that do Mars, Cut, Nestle, all the big guys. So what he did, he called the police and he said, "You need to arrest me because I'm supporting child labor and child slavery." And the police said, "What stuff are you talking about?" And he said, "Yes, I just went to the supermarket and I bought chocolate." And I said, "I don't understand." "Yes, you don't know that all the production is actually is made possible, and these big companies are able to pay such a low price on cocoa beans because they're employing these practices." So this journalist made himself a life mission to stop that, and he created a new chocolate brand which is called Tony Chocolonely, because it's a lonely fight against inequality. And everything they do, it's fascinating. Alpha Omega has them, by the way. They're selling them. Their purpose is to make chocolate 100% slavery free. But here's where the interesting thing comes into play. Not their chocolate, any chocolate. They spent months and years to develop a completely slavery-free chocolate production, the supply chain, and they made it available to anyone. If Konstantinos and Martin want to start a new brand of chocolate and we want to do it the good way, we can go to them. They will send us this supply chain, and we make it 100% slavery-free. Eh? And even their chocolate design, it's not equal. So it's not the classic, square grid. When you break it, all the pieces are wrong, and that pisses people off. But why? Because chocolate is not equal. The profits are not shared equally with the people producing it. And they were the number one marketing campaigns through many, many years on zero budget. They were the best guys doing zero budget viral campaign. Their advent calendar created such a big noise because sometimes you were opening one day and there was a piece of chocolate, and you were opening another couple of days, there was nothing. Then there was another day, there were 5 pieces of chocolate, and people got so raged by this, they started calling them and said, "Your advent calendar is broken. There is no chocolate." And they said, "No, it's not broken. It's made by design because chocolate production is unequal. Is not equally shared." So everything they did was aligned with this purpose of making chocolate slavery free, and I think it's beautiful. And they became a multi-million brand. Now they went international, they went global. And you think about it, it's such a saturated market. Like no sane person will wake up and say, "I'm gonna become a chocolate entrepreneur," because there are so many brands. But because they were so different, so unique, and so driven by their purpose, they smashed it. And it's a beautiful brand. And people are, when they hear the story, when they connect with them on their purpose, they're okay of paying more because they know that this money will go for a good cause.
I mean, if I see it in the shelf, I would rather buy that for a bigger price than the regular one that I would find on every kiosk in Cyprus.
Yeah.
The pieces,
Shapes.
the shapes.
So there is a medallion in the center of the chocolate that I think promotes their brand. I think you guys should maybe we overpose it in the podcast. and then every single piece is different.
Do you know what are these pieces?
What do you mean?
What show
What do they represent?
out.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I missed
Name of
that.
the countries.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I would have an insight.
Here we go. extra points. I'm the one learning today.
That's a very good story.
Very cold. The type
So
of these countries.
Where they source their beans.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, yeah.
I thought it was the continent when you told me the first time. I thought it was the continent. I don't know why I thought about the continents, but
Remember the countries.
maybe it's the ones from the beans. Martin, you're also, shall I say, a seasoned speaker now in expos and seminars.
I try.
And I know that every expo after 2022 basically has spent a lot of time focusing on AI. Everyone has their own take of AI, and everyone speaks about AI as being the Lord and Savior, and everyone wants to knock the door and
do you have time for our Martin Zarian AI?
We have 5 minutes to speak about AI.
And then the whole dialogue is based on ChatGPT's dialogue. So the question I want to ask is, do you think AI can create a form of a newfound art?
AI cannot create new stuff by definition.
Combining, mixing.
Remixing, I think it can remix, but I think what people are, and that's my view, in my opinion, what people are misunderstanding about AI is that AI does not generate or does not create from nothing. It's a remix of existing things. I think AI changed my life, right? So in terms of how I'm working, I'm able to create content faster, revision content faster, are able to do research faster when I'm doing brand strategy, and a whole lot of operations. But every single time I tell AI to do something new, innovative, creative, inventive, it just falls behind, right? It's obvious, it's cliche, and there's a lot of people outside that are doing AI-generated content. It's so easy to spot. Immediately spottable, right? So I think it's an enabler, it's an enhancer, but it's not a creator per se at this stage. I think later in the days where maybe it's going to be more involved machine learning and I don't know, we're going into dystopian kind of scenarios, it could become a bit more. But I think if you know how to use it properly, you can have incredible advantages at work, at life, and on everything. So it's definitely meant here to stay. Art-wise and all these AI-generated arts and everything, I think they lack what we were discussing before, the storytelling, the
uniqueness, the original intent.
Yeah. And why do we like Van Gogh so much, for example, right? Because it's not only about his art, but it's also about the person behind. Picasso is the same, right? So these massive characters, they were injecting their art with their aura and their charisma, right? If everyone can create art, what is the point? Art becomes nothing.
Some days ago, I stumbled upon some YouTube videos. I fell into a YouTube funnel at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I should be sleeping, but I'm seeing people creating stuff.
Who doesn't?
Those Indian guys that are creating a whole kingdom for 3 hours. So I fell on a path of discovering AI-generated content, but not only in form of art, images, or even video. I fell in the art of music. And I found it very fascinating, and I was intrigued by a specific video. It was the late great Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, the singer from Linkin Park, and they generated his voice. He has been dead for like 8 years, 9, since 2017. And they generated his voice to sing My Heart Will Go On from
Is the drummer? Is the drummer with the...
No, he's the singer. He's the singer, the one with the glasses.
But there is another guy that does all these AI generated things, and he plays drums.
Yeah. Also, it's that one. But this one was only AI generated, and it was him singing "My Heart Will Go On," which never happened in a million years. And because his voice was so powerful, he was doing all these growls and all these high-pitched voices on his songs, and a very specific genre of new metal, for example. It was really fascinating actually listening to someone who you don't expect sing a song by Celine Dion, which in my opinion is in the top 5 of best songs ever. And by the end of it, I was kind of, I'm gonna tear up. It's beautiful. It was incredible, and it was a newfound discovery that AI can mix things together and create something that is loved by people. So that's art.
It is, and I think that made me think that I also felt in a very similar rabbit hole. Maybe it was the same rabbit hole. There is a content creator that I really like. I can't remember his name, but he's a drummer and he does all these type of videos, right? So exactly like that, like Eminem singing the Mariah Carey, for example, this kind of things, and they sound incredible. He plays live drums on it, so it's beautiful. but he had a lot of problems with credits and with rights as well. Sorry, because we still don't know how to go about these things legally.
Yeah.
Right? It's not regulated AI, for example. This technology is not regulated. How you use data, how you generate data, because it's all data that is not actually created, but is remixed. The original source, who is it, and to who we should pay the rights. And
You
give credit
can't
to the
own
source.
something that is
So,
generated.
yeah, so he was doing this by entertaining, but obviously he's on YouTube and he was being very successful. He was also making money out of it. So you see how it becomes incredibly complex.
Yeah.
The system of understanding what the heck we should do. Should we regulate it? Should we not regulate it? There's a lot of talk with Elon Musk as well, and all these big guys trying to create this global AI alliance. And what if all these dystopian movies of iRobot and shit like that? What is actually what is their prediction?
Yeah.
Right? What if actually this goes out of control?
Yeah. I hope it doesn't go in the way of Terminator.
Yeah.
I don't want someone chasing me with it.
there must be a Simpson episode that talks about it.
Yeah,
And it should be accurate because those guys, they always nail it. They always nail it.
they in terms of not storytelling, like predicting the future, Simpsons are out of the competition because they're on their own. So we talked about AI. That's out of the way. I know that's not a favorite topic because it's pretty common these days. We also talked about businesses in Cyprus and in general. How's your business? What's life at Factory 39?
That is good. I think the easiest way I explain Factory 39 and my side of Factory 39 is like having 20 plus babies without the 9 months of pregnancy to get ready. Right? So when me and Zen started, we didn't predict such a steep growing curve, and we had to figure it out, right? So we were building the machine while the machine was already driving, which is beautiful in the ups and the downs. But we created something incredible. I think we have by far the best team out there. We're creating some incredible work. We're doing it from a very tiny, weirdly localized in a way place as Cyprus, but we're able to work anywhere in the world. Yeah, I'm very proud of what we're doing with its ups and its downs, but it's mostly ups. I'm proud and happy that we are doing it from Cyprus, because one of our goals was also to help put Cyprus on a map as well. That's why I like doing this kind of conversation with you. That's why we are launching our own podcast as well. That's why we're participating to events. Because we always say, "You must take me see and I don't see." That's one of our guiding mottos, and I think we are. And if you think about the geopolitical complexities of Cyprus and the size, we are awesome. We're doing really well.
Yeah.
And we want to help do even better. So going back to the very first question, yeah, it can be hard being in Cyprus, but it's extremely rewarding, and it's in our mission to help Cyprus grow and really put it in the map.
And having international clients, international corporations from Cyprus just shows how big someone can grow here. Not just here, but everywhere. That's a big statement and something to be inspired by. But what are you looking for in a F-39er? If it's someone that wants to join you?
Yeah, I think.
What are you seeing young talent, let's say?
Drink beer.
Drink beer, appreciate local beer, and bring beer and keep the fridge keep the fridge full for
That's
sure.
how I passed my interview. We have beers.
Actually, beer is in my LinkedIn profile as well on the actual description. You know those very precious 50 words. Beer is in there. I think passion. You cannot teach passion. You cannot buy passion. You cannot sell passion. Hard skill can be learned. Anything can be learned, especially nowadays. You wanna fly 737. You go on YouTube and you learn how to fly it. While we live in this beautiful world where anything can be learned with a few clicks. So I'm not much worried about what type of skills they bring I want to see the passion and desire. I want to see the fire and the flame, because we're happy. I still, we're happy. We're lucky. I saw many people doing 40, 45 years of work that I absolutely fucking hate. Monday to Friday, 8 to 10 years, doing a work that they spite and like that makes them so unhappy. We sit on a leather chair, playing music and doing beautiful, impactful work and help other people grow and businesses grow in an environment that is fun, that is flexible, that is colorful, that is young. And sometimes it's very easy to get caught up with all the negativities and how hard it is to be an entrepreneur. But we are so lucky on doing a job that we love. And that's why we want to find people that love doing that. Even my parents, they struggle a lot. I see them, and I'm just taking my bike and going to work and being around people I want to be. And I think that there's no price in that, because ultimately we spend more time with these people than our family. Yes. Imagine like 8 hours, 9 hours of your day, and you're not happy in it. It's too much.
Yeah. How long can you take that?
How long can you take that, right?
And it's not like the previous generations that this was their only getaway, this was their only option.
There were no choices.
Yeah, there were not choices. But again, the second question of the day was how COVID helped that thing. So
I was going to say that
was
intensified that realization that if you're stuck in something you don't like, maybe you should go and learn something and change. You're absolutely right, because after COVID, there was a massive explosion of people leaving corporate, leaving the city, the exodus, right? So there was this massive exodus of people realizing, I hate this.
I have options, and they're not bad. I use options as my advantage, not in a way that makes me sad.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful time to be alive. That is the reality.
Wow, that's a very positive. Cool. You're also into sustainability with the bike going to work. What's that about?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say that I am go green, kill diesel, and that type of thing. But I think I started cycling. For me, cycling is therapy, right? And it's a time where I'm off my phone, off the noise, off everything. I'm in the nature. I'm pushing myself, and I'm just free and alone with my thoughts, and it really helps me. And I started cycling in London because there's a massive cycling community. It was cheaper to commute, so I really didn't cycle because I thought the cars were better. I love cars, and so but it's not much of that short. It helps. But it's more about taking care of myself, really, and it's a beautiful sport. You never know what is happening on what's above the hill, and climbing that hill, it's so painful and so tiring. Like my girlfriend always tells you're a bloody masochist. Why do you do that? No human is meant to spend 8 hours on a piece of plastic like this. Like, your ass is not built for it. It will hurt. So all cyclists have this relationship with pain. But
that's a weird shape to sit on for a lot of time.
Yeah, 10 hours. Can you imagine that? And but you'll be surprised what human being is. but what and we stop there. But once you're on top of that hill, the reward, it's priceless. It's priceless. Like you got there, you improved your stuff, then you see another fucking hill and you're like, okay. But that's another point.
Another hill.
That's another point. It's a great sport. I love it.
With that sport, you might have the benefit to say that you saw the whole of the island.
Yeah.
Like most Cypriots may not say that they saw everything in the island based on the situation with their occupiers and whatever, but you saw the whole island from west to east, north to south.
Yeah, last October, me and my friend, one of my childhood friends, which is the craziest friend I have, and literally is the only person that I will text him and say, hey, do you want to cycle the whole Cyprus perimeter on the bike? And he said, yes. And I said, great, let's do it. And beautiful. And again, I think Cyprus is so rich, so diverse, and it has so much to give. And the complexities and the high contrast of the island from history, but also from nature, just make it an incredible place to be. And doing it slow paced with a bicycle gives you the time to just soak it in. Like if you were on the car and if you were on a motorbike, it wouldn't be the same. But because you're, and it's very hilly as well. That's one thing I realized that is not flat at all as an island. There are lots of hills, so we were going even slower. Sometimes we were just like hours and hours of climbing, and we were said like,
Well, it wasn't much of a choice sometimes.
It wasn't much of a choice. Beautiful place, and I would suggest it to anyone. Take the bike and go explore Cyprus because that's so much to give. The problem, though, the flip side, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's no cycling culture. All the diplogambinos bloody hate you. The papu with the hat and the cigar and the mobile phone on diplogambino that shouldn't be on the road because like there is no lights. The car is out broken and these just emanates like black smoke. They are not used to seeing cyclists, right? So they beat you even if you're just on the left. You're a disturbance on the road. So we have so much work to do in terms of making Cyprus more cyclist friendly. We have one cycling path, and every 10 meters it blocks because there is a pavement starting. For example, from Mekali down to the road, there is a cycling path, but it's 10 meter stops, 10 meter stops, 10 meter stops. And it's impossible to the one.
And in the tourist areas.
And in the tourist area, there is a cycling path that is used by runners or by people walking. So it doesn't really work. It's a shame because we could. But that's a whole different infrastructure conversation that we have on how much we love cars and how much like every family has, a diplogambino, then a normal car, then an SUV, then a vintage car, then a motora, right? So there's so many cars. Like I grew up in a family that we had one, and me and my brother were fighting until the last drop of blood to get half an hour on the car. And here there are so many.
That's a traditional way of thinking in Cyprus. Everyone should own one car each. For example, a six people family should have 6 different cars.
And it's a shame because we have 9 months of the most perfect cycling weather, and then we have July, August that unless you want a heart attack, you shouldn't be on the bike. But all the rest of the year, I cycle with summer gear, even now, right? And it's beautiful, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful,
especially from the diplogambinos.
Especially from the diplogambinos from Paphos and the Paphos.
Specifically nice. So beware in Paphos. There are some Paphos on the hunt.
I think I don't know. I think Amazonian drive. I think Amazonians have a more toxic relationship with time, and I don't know what the hell they want to do with these 3 seconds that they start beeping you on the green light. Who eyes feeling like how much stuff do you have to do in your life that you start beeping at me after like 2 seconds I became green?
Not even 2 seconds.
Drivers are on the edge anymore. It's wild.
But you cyclists have a very tough competitor nowadays. It's the ones on scooters.
Yeah, I know that.
So these ones, I'm definitely hitting one. And there's no chance. Even by accident, I'm not gonna try.
Like Armageddon. You remember Armageddon? Again, we don't really know what to do with that, like legislation-wise, and it's like a Wild West.
And if there are no rules made or any legal actions that you can take if someone is doing something illegal, what can you do or be? It's the head of the tables.
Sure.
Need to accommodate to that. Martin, I think this is time for us. Your beer is finished. Mine is not. I take time a little bit slower. Thank you very much for coming. Where can people find you? Where are you most active?
Mostly on LinkedIn. So Martin Zarian, I'm in there. So if anyone wants to reach out and have another chat or ask me what I was actually saying on the podcast, I can try again.
You want the subtitles of one clip? Just send us the clip.
I can fix the transcript.
You post daily content there.
I post mostly about brand strategy and branding. Yeah, that's
You're challenging yourself to daily post.
I try myself to daily post, but I also try myself to not build extra anxiety on content FOMO. So I try to post at least every other day. But yeah, I think LinkedIn is a beautiful platform for that. There is still lots of room for content and content creators versus the more saturated, Instagram or TikTok, which is
At least it has a niche.
true. And people are nicer, because they're
Or at least they try to be kinder,
At least.
like a professional. You see all the pictures with the suits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like then on Instagram, they're like showing their asses or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people. You know who you are. So thank you very much for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks for
It
having
was
me.
a pleasure doing this with you, and it was a pleasure trying out my English conversation skills with you.
Like it is.
You can at the price.
Rent.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Follow Martin Zarian, find out where he's gonna be, where can you listen to him, or just see his content, react to it. He always responds back. And thank you for listening to our podcast. Follow our podcast. Follow me for no particular reason, but
Why not?
why not? Thank you very much. See you in the next episode. Bye.